So I got this mower in the customer return lot that I got in November. Haven't done a video on it because I don't know if I'm even gonna try and fix it, which is a shame because it has a Honda engine on it. It's just like a knockoff MTD brand. I think it was Black Max or something like that was the brand of this mower. The self-propel works on it. As you can see, it's been used quite a bit for it to be returned to Walmart, but it has the Honda GCV160 engine on it, overhead cam with the auto choke system on it, and it's got your fuel shut-off valve too. And as you can tell, it's been used quite a bit. I think this mower is supposed to have hubcaps on it. Looks a lot more than 90 days worth of use to me, but inside of it is pretty fairly clean. And like I said, the self-propel works on it. The problem is, I think it got ran without oil, and I'm pretty sure that the rings are shot on it, because every time I start it up after it's been sitting, after a heat cycle, even with thicker oil in it, it just smokes up the whole backyard, and it will smoke for about 10 minutes. I'm not going to run it long, but I'll at least show y'all that it does run. The problem is it runs great, it just smokes, which is unfortunate. So I might invest in rings in this. I'll have to see though. But yeah, let me put this down here and start it up. Like I said, I'm not going to run it long because it'll smoke up the whole neighborhood if I do that. But yeah, it is just a shame because these Hondas are excellent engines. But it's a little bit on the loud side too, so I think there's a little bit too much internal damage for me to mess with. I still might break it apart for fun just to see what it looks like. Because obviously I'm not going to be selling it like this, or at least without disclosing the issue. It is kind of a shame, but yeah, I might try and break into this just to see what we have here and what kind of damage has been done, just maybe out of pure interest. But I don't know if this one will be one to get fixed. This one might be an engine transplant. We'll just have to see. So that clip before I posted or made a few weeks ago, and now just today I've decided to get it out and just kind of investigate it since I have some time. And as you can see, all I did right here was there's 3 10mm bolts that are mounted to these mounting points on the engine that I took off, and then 4 10mm bolts that go to this overhead valve cover, or overhead cam cover. And then I just took a small screwdriver to get the gasket off of it here, and as you can see, the amount of oil that came out of it, which was plenty. Which means I got some sort of leak in there in the cylinder or something, because that's a ton of oil coming out of there, coming out of that valve cover. So I'll keep tearing into this thing maybe, and at least see if the cylinder is scarred. And if the cylinder's scarred, then there's no need for me to keep going and putting rings and stuff on it. So yeah, that's kind of situation here. As you can see, there was a ton of oil in there, and this thing hasn't been tilted up or down or anything. It's just been turned off. So got a lot of oil leakage somewhere. So we'll keep investigating though. So I've got it on level ground here now, and I know when I changed the oil in it, I only put the recommended amount in it, or at least I thought I did. But on the stick here, it still looks like it's overfilled. So I guess the first thing I'll do here is I might try and just drain even more oil out of it, because I had some, or I did put a little too much in to start with, and then I drained quite a bit out, but I've still got quite a bit in here. So I know that a high oil level will contribute to smoking also. So let me just see what draining some oil out will do. And again, on these Hondas, you just have to turn them on their side to do that. So I'm going to drain some out and see maybe what happens here. So I've got the oil at a good level now. It's just under full here, sitting level, threading it all the way in. So I know that it's not overfilled, which was my goal. And then I just put it back together, just like I said, I took everything off. So this cover just slides onto these 3 pins here, and this pull rope does the same thing. You put your 10 millimeters back in. Same thing with the valve cover, 10 millimeter bolts, 4 of them. You just put them back in. So that's all I did there. So now I know it's still going to smoke some, because y'all saw the amount of oil that came out of the valve cover from running it earlier and cutting it off. I haven't run this thing in a few weeks now, but let me put this down and see what it does. I'm going to let it run a while and then cut it off, and then I'll restart it again after about 30 or 40 minutes just to see if it'll still smoke. So this is just kind of a trial run here, but here we go. It is a really windy day, so hopefully all this smoke will kind of disperse. You can see it's smoking just a little bit. Self-propel works great on it. Like I said, I had a bunch of oil to burn off, which y'all can see, so we're just going to let this thing sit here and run for about 10 or 15 minutes and come back. That's only running after about 5 minutes or so that it completely cleared out. So I'm going to let it rest for maybe about a half hour and come back and see if it smokes again when I crank it up. If it does then I mean, it's almost definite a worn piston rings, which I'm suspecting, but if it's only because I overfilled it with oil, I'll be pleasantly surprised. So I feel like this video is just going to consist of a lot of this thing running and seeing how much it smokes. But I did clean it. It looks a lot better than it did. I don't have any leaks or anything anywhere. So I'm just going to crank this up. It's been a couple of days, and I'm just going to see how much it smokes. Still doing it just a little bit. Cleared up rather quickly though. So it does have a little smoke here and there. I think the piston rings are worn on it a little bit, but it is encouraging. When I do advertise it to sell, I will advertise that it does smoke, and we'll probably need that it has worn piston rings, and I'll sell it for a reduced price. But when I first started, I guess if y'all could see in the video how much it actually smoked, and it was smoking for probably a good 3 to 5 minutes, but a lot of it was probably because I had the oil a little bit too high, and now I've got it in about the right spot. I have it maybe 3/4 of the way up the stick, and it seems to be doing much better. It seems to be at the point where it's usable by somebody now, which is good. Like I said, I'm obviously going to disclose it. The thing runs too good for me to go into it, and I know that somebody will be able to use it as is perfectly fine for a good little while. And if for some reason they get it home and it blows up, they can always bring it back, because I do that, or I usually tell people that, as long as they don't have it for 2 years and try and do it to me, or have it for let it sit over the off season. So yeah, it ain't perfect, but I think it's still good enough to use, and it should give somebody a good, because I'll sell it pretty cheap since it's got the smoking problem, self-propel push mower. So I'm glad I got this one kind of right. And I thought I was gonna dive into this thing, but again, all I did was take 3 bolts off here and take 4 bolts off here, just to kind of check everything and see how much oil and stuff was in it, in the valve cover. So until next time, I will see what other videos that might come about. I don't really have a lot of trade-ins going on right now, or a ton of sales. So until next time though, got a pretty decent mower here, and I will show you all another one whenever I get one in. But in the meantime, thank y'all for watching.